I died choking on my own blood in the back of an unmarked van. The kind that screams off the books to anyone who's ever watched a cop show. My brother's face was the last thing I saw, smirking like he'd just closed a deal on Wall Street. Not orchestrated my kidnapping and execution for a slice of the family fortune we'd buried under layers of corporate lies. And just like that, the world went black. Or so I thought. Because when my eyes snapped open again, it wasn't to fluorescent hospital lights or some divine courtroom. It was to the goddamn alarm clock in my old bedroom. The one with the cracked screen I'd meant to fix but never did. Buzzing at 6:45 a.m. on the morning of the interview that started it all. June 15th, 2018. My heart slammed against my ribs like it was trying to escape. I was 25 again.
Alive.
And Madeline Harper, me, wasn't going to let those bastards rewrite my ending this time. I bolted upright. Sheets tangled around my legs like restraints from that van. The room smelled of stale coffee and the lavender diffuser Mom had insisted on. A scent that now hit me like tear gas. My hands, younger, unscarred, trembled as I touched my face, my neck, the faint pulse at my carotid that I'd felt slow to nothing 2 years from now. Or was it 7 years from this moment? Time folded in on itself. A Mobius strip of regret and rage. I'd been the good daughter. The overachiever who'd clawed her way through Columbia on scholarships while my brother, Ethan, coasted on Dad's connections and Mom's blinders. And for what? To end up floating face down in the Hudson. Ruled a tragic accident by the NYPD, courtesy of Ethan's fabricated evidence and a dirty cop on parole. The hook lodged in my throat wasn't just the memory of the bullet grazing my lung. It was the call from Mom the night before this very day. Sweetie, Ethan's interview is tomorrow too. Harvard's legacy program. You understand,
Don't you?
family first. Her voice, all honeyed guilt, as if canceling my shot at Goldman Sachs was just rescheduling brunch. I'd done it. Of course. Faked food poisoning. Emailed HR with apologies dripping sincerity. Ethan got the spot, the mentorship, the fast track to partner. And I got passed over, demoted to grunt work, then framed for embezzlement when the family business, Dad's shady real estate flips laundering cartel cash, started crumbling. The secret they'd buried? Not just dirty money, but the body count, tenants evicted at gunpoint, bribes to zoning boards, and one poor super who disappeared after asking too many questions. I swung my legs over the bed, feet hitting the cool hardwood of our Upper West Side walk-up. The mirror across the room showed a ghost of the woman I'd become. Sharp jaw, dark hair in a no-nonsense bob, eyes that hadn't yet learned to trust no one. But they burned now, with the fire of someone who'd danced with death and waltzed away. Not this time, I whispered to my reflection. You don't get to play me again. Downstairs, the kitchen hummed with the ritual of Harper family dysfunction. Dad hunched over his Bloomberg terminal. Ty already nodded like armor for another day of wheeling and dealing at Harper Developments. Mom flitted between the espresso machine and the fruit bowl, her yoga-toned arms slicing kiwis with surgical precision. Ethan lounged at the island, scrolling his phone, that perpetual half-smile curling his lips like he knew the punchline to a joke no one else got. 27. Golden boy. The son who'd never had to prove shit. Morning, Maddie, Mom chirped, sliding a green smoothie my way. Avocado and spinach. Her latest detox fad. In my first life, I'd sipped it gratefully, ignoring the bitterness. Now it tasted like bile. Big day.
Huh?
That interview, Goldman. Right? You're going to kill it. I paused, spoon halfway to my mouth. This was the moment. The fork in the road where I'd veered left into oblivion. My pulse thrummed. A war drum. Do it soft. Like before? Or swing the axe?
Yeah, Mom. About that.
I set the spoon down, voice steady as steel. Ethan's got Harvard tomorrow.
Lia she slat.
I hear it's a lock. Dad glanced up, bushy brows knitting. What's that got to do with? I'm canceling, I said, watching Ethan's thumb freeze mid-swipe.
Gotcha.
Family first, right? He needs it more. I'll reschedule. The kitchen went pin-drop silent, save for the hiss of the espresso frother. Mom's knife slipped, nicking her thumb. A pearl of blood welled up, ironic. The first drop spilled today. Ethan's eyes flicked to mine, surprise melting into smug relief.
That's
generous. Mess.
Didn't expect that.
I smiled, the kind that doesn't reach your eyes. What are siblings for? Dad clapped Ethan on the back. Oblivious. Atta girl. Blood's thicker than ink on a contract. He turned back to his screens, muttering about quarterly projections. Mom bandaged her thumb, cooing relief. But I saw it, the flicker in Ethan's gaze. The calculation. He thought he had me pegged, the pushover sister who'd always folded. By 8 a.m., I'd fired off the email to Goldman. Personal emergency, request to reschedule. Carbon copy to HR. Blind copy to my personal archive. In my pocket, my phone buzzed, a text from an old sorority sister. But I ignored it.
No distractions.
This wasn't just about the interview anymore. It was reconnaissance. Mapping the minefield I'd danced through blind last time. I spent the morning in my room, laptop open to old emails I deleted in my first go-round. There it was, the thread from Dad's assistant. Confidential. Q3 offsets. The code for the slush fund. The one that funneled kickbacks from Jersey developers into offshore accounts. I'd found it accidentally back then, after hours at the office, and confronted Dad in a whisper. It's nothing.
Kiddo.
Just creative accounting.
Lies.
It was everything, the thread that unraveled when the feds came knocking. And Ethan pinned it all on me to save his skin.
Now.
I screenshotted every byte. Cross-referenced with public records. The foreclosed brownstones in Harlem. The accidental fires that cleared lots for luxury condos. And the super, Raul Mendoza, listed as relocated in Dad's notes. Relocated to a pine box under the foundation of what became Ethan's first flip. Rage simmered. Hot and controlled. I wasn't rushing this. Revenge wasn't a sprint, it was a marathon with tripwires. By noon, I was out the door, subway to Midtown, resume in hand, not for Goldman, but for a temp gig at a rival firm, Klein and Associates. Small fish, but they'd bite. And from there, I'd worm in. The temp agency was a fluorescent purgatory, crammed with hopefuls nursing Starbucks. The recruiter, a harried woman named Trish with a Jersey twang, eyed my Ivy League polish. Goldman washout? Honey, we can do better than that. Actually, I leaned in, voice dropping conspiratorially. I'm looking for dirt. Harper Developments. Ever hear whispers? Her eyes lit up like I'd offered cocaine.
Oh, girl.
Sit down. By 3 p.m., I had a gig starting Monday, administrative assistant at Klein, with a side of intel on Harper's skeletons. Trish slipped me a USB. Anonymous tip line dumps. Use it wisely. Jackpot. As I rode the F train home, thumbing through files on my phone, the city blurred into a smear of neon and ambition. New York. You beautiful bitch. You ate me alive once. This time.
I det fest. Dinner that night was the real test.
Mom's roasted chicken. Dad's red wine monologue on market volatility. Ethan dominated, regaling us with his prep for Harvard, really just name-dropping frat bros who'd pledged him favors. I played the part, attentive nods, refills on his glass. But under the table, my foot tapped a rhythm of countdown. So, Mads, he drawled, cutting into his thigh. You sure about bailing? Goldman's no joke. Positive. I met his gaze. Fork-piercing potato like an artery. Besides, you've got the family legacy to uphold. Wouldn't want to step on toes. Dad chuckled. That's my girl. Team Harper. Mom beamed, oblivious to the undercurrent. But Ethan, he lingered on my face a beat too long. Suspicion? Or just his ego inflating? Either way, the hook was set. As I cleared plates, slipping into the study for homework, I hacked Dad's desktop, password unchanged since college. Harper King 1. Child's Play. There, in the recycle bin, deleted memos on Raoul. Issue resolved. No further action. My stomach twisted, but I downloaded it all. Evidence snowballing. Bed at midnight. But sleep was a stranger. Visions replayed. The van's rumble. Ethan's whisper, sorry.
Cease.
Business is business. The shot. The cold concrete.
But now.
I breathed.
Planned.
By dawn, file 1 of my revenge manifesto was drafted. Step 1. Infiltrate. Step 2. Expose fractures. Step 3. Watch them bleed out slow. Little did they know, the interview I'd canceled was just the appetizer. The main course? Their empire. Served cold. Waking up the second time in this borrowed life felt less like resurrection and more like armor plating. My body hummed with purpose. Muscles coiled like a sprinter at the blocks. Monday morning. I kissed Mom's cheek, perfume cloying as cyanide, and hit the streets in a thrift store blazer that screamed, hungry but harmless. Klein and Associates occupied the 22nd floor of a glass tower in Flatiron, all exposed brick and ergonomic chairs. The anti-Harper in every way. My boss, Victor Klein himself, was a wiry ex-prosecutor with a mustache that screamed 80s cop drama and eyes that dissected bullshit on sight. Harper.
Huh.
He scanned my resume over lunch, sushi from the cart downstairs. His treat. Family and real estate. Conflict. I speared a piece of tuna. Smile razor thin. Not if you're poaching clients. He barked a laugh. Bold. I like it. Start with due diligence on Midtown parcels. See what your daddy's hiding. It wasn't luck, it was leverage. Trish's USB had primed me. Klein's firm was circling Harper's deals like sharks on chum. By noon, I was buried in property liens, cross-referencing with the docs I'd swiped. There it was, the Mendoza file, buried under archived disputes.
Raoul.
52. Father of 3. Vanished after threatening to go public on code violations. Relocation package. $50,000 wired to unknown. Unknown my ass, traceable to Ethan's personal account. If you knew where to dig. I did. Hours blurred into a frenzy of spreadsheets and subpoenas pulled from public dockets. Victor popped his head in at 5 p.m. Harper, Madeline, grab a drink? Team building. The bar was a dive-off fifth. All sticky floors and craft IPAs. Victor nursed a scotch. Probing. Your brother's the heir apparent,
Right?
Ethan Harper saw his name on a gala invite. Sharp kid. Sharper than he looks. I sipped my gin, letting the burns steady me. Controversial decision number 1. Plant the seed. Heard he's expanding into Brooklyn. But whispers say the financings. Creative. Victor's eyes narrowed. Game recognized. Creative how? Offshore vibes. Caribbean shells. Nothing proven. But I trailed off, shrugging like it was gossip, not grenade pins pulled. By last call, he'd comped my tab and murmured,
Keep digging.
discreetly. Hook, line, sinker. Home that night, the apartment thrummed with normalcy that chafed like sandpaper. Dad on a call, barking at contractors, Mom prepping kale salads, Ethan, fresh from his Harvard win, preening over acceptance texts. They loved the essay on legacy, he bragged, clinking glasses. In my first life, I toasted him, heart full of sisterly pride. Now, I envisioned that glass shattering against his temple. Congrats, I said, clinking back. To building empires. His grin faltered, just a twitch.
Yeah.
Empires. I excused myself early, claiming jet lag from a networking trip. Lie 1. Small but savory. In my room, I fired up a burner laptop, purchased cash from a Best Buy in Queens, and set up anonymous emails. First target, a journalist at the Village Voice.
Lena Vasquez.
Who'd sniffed around Harper in my old timeline but got stonewalled. Tip, check Raul Mendoza. Last seen at 142 Lenox Avenue. Harper relocation docs attached, and signed. Of course. Sleep came fitful. Dreams of the van morphing into boardrooms where Ethan signed my death warrant with a Montblanc pen. Tuesday at Klein, more dirt. A whistleblower email from a former Harper accountant, forwarded by Trish. Embezzlement scheme via fake vendor invoices.
Signature Matchem.
Harper. They'd forged mine last time. But now I had timestamps proving I was in class at Columbia when they were dated. Victor called me into his office mid-afternoon.
Door clicked shut.
You're a bloodhound.
Kid.
This Mendoza thing, it's gold. But dangerous. Your family? I leaned against the window. Manhattan sprawling below like a vein map. Not anymore. He studied me, then slid a folder across. Go public? Or sue? Neither. Yet. Controversial choice too. Play both sides. I'd feed Klein enough to bleed Harper slow, but hold the kill shot for myself. That evening, family dinner escalated the tension. Dad announced a major acquisition, a Brooklyn loft complex. Prime for flipping. Ethan's baby. Funded by the very slush that'd doom us. To the Harpers, glasses raised. But mine lingered low. Mom noticed. Maddie, you okay?
Honey, you've been so
distant. Just work, I lied. Swirling Merlot. Klein's intense. Ethan perked. Klein's? That Shark Tank? What are you doing there? Temp gig. Pays the bills while I regroup. I met his eyes. Challenge veiled. You know how it is, sacrifices for the team. Dad waved it off. Good on you. But don't poach my thunder. Laughter rippled. Forced. Underneath, I felt the fractures spiderwebbing. Later, rifling through Ethan's discarded mail in the recycling, old habit from paranoia days, I found it, a confirmation for a Cayman Islands flight. Money trail, hot and fresh. Wednesday blurred into audits. At Klein, I uncovered the big secret. Not just laundering, but ties to a Bronx syndicate. Harper Developments wasn't flipping properties, it was fencing them for mob cleanouts. Raoul, collateral on a botched eviction tied to a loan shark hit.
Victor pulled me aside.
This is felony territory. Madeline. You want out?
No.
My voice cracked. Just enough vulnerability to sell it. I want in.
Deep.
He nodded. Respect dawning.
All right.
But cover your ass. By nightfall, I'd emailed Lena another nugget. Cayman wires to E. Harper. Follow the rum. Thursday, confrontation brewing. Ethan cornered me in the hallway, reeking of cologne and entitlement. Heard you're stirring shit at Klein. Dad's pissed. Some probe on the Brooklyn deal. I feigned innocence. Towel drying my hair post-shower. Me? I'm just filing papers. Bullshit. He stepped closer. Breath hot. Stay in your lane. Mess. Or I'll make you. The old me would have backed down. Tears pricking.
Knew me?
I laughed. Low and lethal. Try it, brother. See what happens. His fist clenched, first crack in the facade. He stormed off, slamming his door. Mom knocked later. Worry etched. Ethan says you're fighting. What's going on? Nothing.
Mom.
Just sibling rivalry. Lie 3. But as she hugged me, I smelled the fear. The same she'd buried when they dumped my suicide note in the first timeline. Friday capped the week with a bang. Klein landed a client consult on ethical real estate, irony thick as fog. I presented findings on predatory practices, citing Harper as Exhibit A. Anonymized. Victor's nod was approval, the client's gasp. Validation. Home. The air crackled. Dad, at the table. Paper strewn. Madeline.
Seat.
I did. Spine straight. Someone's leaking to the press. Voice article tomorrow. Mendoza bullshit. Ethan lurked in the shadows. Arms crossed. I blinked. Oscar-worthy. Leaking?
Dad.
That's. Cut the crap. His voice boomed. Vein throbbing. It's you. Klein's got a hard-on for us. Controversial decision 3. Confess halfway. Okay.
Yeah.
I dug. Because Raul Mendoza deserved better than your relocation. Mom gasped. Ethan smirked, too soon. Dad's face purpled. After everything? The opportunities? You're dead to this family. Famous last words. As they banished me to my room, I smiled into the dark.
Dead? Oh. Daddy.
You have no idea. Exile in my own home tasted like the bitter dregs of that first death. Isolated. Watched. Waiting for the blade. But this time, I had the map. Saturday dawned gray. Rain sheeting the windows like judgment from the gods of karma. Dad's edict. Grounded until you apologize. As if I were 16, not 25 with a revenge playbook thicker than war and peace. Mom slipped me breakfast via door crack. Eyes pleading. Fix this. Maddie. For us. For you? The ones who'd chosen Ethan every time. The tuition loans they paid his. The board seat they gifted him while I scraped by. I took the tray, murmured sure, Mom, and bolted the door.
Inside.
My burner buzzed. Lena Vasquez. Tips gold. Meeting tomorrow? Coffee.
Agatha.
Adrenaline surged. First real move off the board. I spent the day in feigned contrition, apologies texted to Dad. Chores done with robotic efficiency. Ethan avoided me, but I caught him on his phone in the study. Voice low. Yeah.
Handle it.
Make sure it's clean. Came in contact? Or cleanup crew? I palmed his discarded burner, sloppy. Brother, and cloned it via a quick app from the dark web. Text flooded in. Mendoza loose end, press sniffing. Double the fee. My blood iced. They'd known about Raul's family all along, his widow in Queens. Kids in parochial school. Leverage. Night fell with a family summit. Dad at the helm.
Scotch and fist.
This ends now. Madeline. No more games. I sat demure. Hands folded. What do you want me to say? The truth. Ethan's eyes bored in. Schemer's glint. You're jealous. Always have been. Controversial pivot. Truth as weapon. Jealous? Of a liar who forges docs and buries bodies?
No.
Ethan. Disgusted. Mom whimpered. Dad slammed the table.
Out.
Pack and go. I stood.
Calm as a grave.
Gladly. Beislung. I hit the door. Ubers to a no-tell in Hell's Kitchen. Cash only. Freedom reeked of bleach and regret, but it was mine. Sunday, Lena at a corner diner in Soho. Booth shadowed. Mid-40s. Sharp bob. Reporter's hunch. You're the Harper leak? I slid the clone drive across. Everything. But print careful. Names redacted till I say. She pocketed it. Eyes gleaming. Why now? Family's not blood. It's a noose. Half-truth. The full? I'd choke them with it. Back at the motel. Victor called. Article drops Tuesday. Klein's filing suit. Quiet injunction. You in. Front row. We plotted. Discovery motions to unearth the syndicate ties. Depositions to trap Ethan in perjury. Monday, crash landing. Mom's voicemails, tearful pleas. Dad's, curt, return or disown. Ethan's, you bitch. You'll regret. I deleted. Blocked. Burned bridges with glee. At Klein, the office buzzed, war room vibes. I pored over wire transfers, tracing to a shell in Nassau. Victor grinned. Your brother's sloppy. IP logs tied to his laptop. Sloppy? Arrogant. In my first life, he'd covered tracks better, framing me with planted hard drives.
Now.
I was the ghost in the machine. Evening brought the scheme's first counterpunch. Knocking at the motel. 2 suits. Private investigators for Harper Developments. MS. Harper? Your father's concerned. Come home. I cracked the door.
Chain on.
Tell him I'm fine. And drop the act, your syndicate muscle. The taller one smirked. Feisty. Ethan's description fits. Controversial call for escalate. I snapped photos. Texted Victor. Tail on me. Send backup. They left. But not before a veiled threat. Accidents happen. Sweetheart. Heart pounding. I bolted, subway to Queens. Mendoza's widow. Door opened to a weary woman. Maria. 40s with grief's etch. You knew Raul? I nodded. Throat tight. He was good. They weren't. Handed her a burner phone, preloaded with Lena's contact. Tell your story. For him. She hugged me.
Fierce. Dios te bendiga.
God bless? He'd better. Mine was on sabbatical. Tuesday. The article hit like a nuke. Harper developments, from brownstones to body bags. Front page. Voice edition. Raoul's photo. Ethan's name blurred but implied. Twitter. X back then, exploded. Harper horror trending in NYC. Dad called. Voice shattered. What have you done? Justice, I whispered. Hanging up. Chaos rippled. Klein's suit filed by noon. Injunction on Brooklyn deal. Fraud claims. Protests outside Harper HQ. Tenants chanting. Ethan texted from a new number. Meet. Neutral ground. 8 p.m. Central Park. Trap or parley? I went armed, pepper spray. Recorder app running. The bench by the reservoir. Fog rolling off water like smoke. He emerged from shadows. Trench coat cinematic. Mess. This is insane. You started it. I stayed seated. Voice even. Raoul. The money. The lies. His face twisted, charm cracking. Dad's mess. I cleaned up. For a cut. Recorder word silent. How much for my life, next time? He laughed. Bitter. You think I'd? Family.
Mess.
Blood's thinner than you think. I stood. Close enough to smell his fierce sweat. Back off. Or the full drive drops to feds. Not just press. His hand shot out, grabbed my wrist. You little. I twisted free. Spray at ready. Touch me again. And you're done. He recoiled. Eyes wild. You're destroying us.
Good.
I walked away. Pulse thunder. Victory won. War far from won. Wednesday, fallout. Mom showed at Klein. Disheveled in cashmere. Please, baby.
Come home.
Therapy. We'll fix Ethan.
Fix?
Like patching a sinking ship. I hugged her. Whispered. Too late.
Mom.
You chose. She sobbed, leaving lipstick on my collar. Guilt gnawed, but resolve armored it. Victor promoted me, junior associate. Hazard pay. Your steel, Harper. Steel forged in hellfire. By week's end, the shadows deepened. Anonymous calls, breathing, hang-ups. A gift at the motel, dead flowers, card, family first. Ethan's script. I moved Airbnb in Brooklyn. Plotted next. Infiltrate the syndicate angle. Controversial? Hell yes. Hacking mob ledgers via a dark web contact from Trish. Risky? Suicide. But death held no terror anymore. As rain hammered the tin roof, I typed the manifesto update. Fractures widening. Schemes launching. The noose tightens, not on me,
but them.
The storm broke on a Thursday in July. Humidity thick as conspiracy. Brooklyn felt like a refuge. Brownstones whispering secrets older than Harper's sins. My Airbnb was a walk-up with creaky floors and a view of the bridge, symbolic. Escape routes in steel. Work at Klein ramped to frenzy. Deposition scheduled. Feds looped in via back channels. Victor's mustache twitched with glee. This could topple empires. Kid. Mine included. But empires built on bones deserve the fall. Ethan's texts escalated, pleas morphing to rage. You're killing Mom. Dad's drinking again. Meet or I go nuclear. Nuclear? The family videos he'd hoarded, childhood vacations. My prom tears, to spin me as the unstable one. I'd scrubbed my digital footprint, but blood ties lingered. Controversial decision 5. Bait the bear.
I replied, fine. Dinner.
Our old spot, Le Bernardin. Tomorrow. 7. The French Temple of Excess in Midtown, where Dad sealed deals and Mom pretended we were wasps. I arrived early. Corner booth. Recorder in purse. Microcam on lapel pin. Trish's paranoia gift. Ethan sauntered in at 7:05. Suit rumpled. Eyes hollowed.
Sis.
He slid in, ordering scotch neat. This ends. Does it? I sipped water. Clear as my conscience. Or does Raoul's widow get her day? He leaned in. Voice venom. You think you're righteous? Dig deeper. Dad's not the villain. Twist 1. Deflection. What? You're the hero now.
Ethan.
Waiter interrupted, but his hand trembled on the glass. The meal dragged, foie gras congealing like guilt. He spun tales. Dad's pressure. The necessary evils for the legacy. I protected you. Always.
Protected?
From the van's bullet? I probed. Casual. Like with the accountant? The one who quit after Mendoza? His fork paused. Coincidence.
Lies.
The recorder caught it all. Tone shifts. The micro pauses screaming deceit. Dessert brought the scheme's core. Join us. Mess.
Co-partner.
Wipe the slate. Temptation flickered. The old dream of belonging. But I saw the hook. Silence for complicity.
No.
But thanks for the tape. His face strained. Tape. I stood. Tossing napkin. Smile. You're on candid camera. Outside. Rain lashed. I ducked into an alley. Heart hammering. Dialing Victor. Got him. Perjury bait. Ethan's pursuit was immediate. Tires screeching. His Audi blocking the sidewalk. Get in. Controversial 6. Run or fight. I bolted. Heels clicking cobble. Into the deluge. He chased on foot.
Cursing.
You traitorous.
Acá born blerd, I dove in.
Door slamming. Drive. Home. Brooklyn Sanctuary. Buzzed with alerts. Lena's text. Feds interested. Meet Raoul's widow. Yes. Queen's Dawn. Maria's kitchen steamy, with arepas. She clutched photos, Raoul's smile broad. He built homes. They destroyed. I handed her the clone drive. Build his justice. Protests swelled, Justice for Raoul marches clogging Times Square. Harper stock, private, but whispers tanked partnerships. Dad's calls went to voicemail, Mom's to a blocked line. Friday, the storm's eye. Victor in conference, deposition Monday. Ethan's first. I nodded, but unease nod. The anonymous calls resumed, now with details. We know where you sleep. Harper girl. Syndicate? Or Ethan freelancing? Night brought the break-in. Glass shattered downstairs. Footsteps heavy. I grabbed the bat from under the bed. Pulse apocalypse. Shadows in the hall. 2 goons. Masks. Silenced intent. Harper sent us. 1 growled. Fight or flight. Controversial 7. Fight dirty. I swung low. Cracking knee. Grunt. Stumble. Second lunged. I sprayed eyes. Clawed face. Bat to ribs, crack. They fled. But not before a slash, my arm. Shallow but stinging. 911 blurred. Cops. Questions. Family feud. Detectives' eye skeptical. More, I gasped. Check Harper. Hospital stitched me up. 7 stitches. Tetanus shot. Victor arrived. Face thunder. You're off the case.
No.
I gripped his arm. I'm the case. Discharged to a safe house, Motel 6 in Jersey. Klein Comp. Saturday. Isolation bred clarity. Manifesto update. Storm raging. Wounds superficial. Reckoning nears. Sunday. Mom's ambush. She tracked the hospital. Waited in the lobby. Frail in Chanel.
Maddie.
God. Your arm. I stiffened. Go home. Please. Tears tracked mascara. Ethan's spiraling. Dad's confessing therapist. Even. Confessing? Hook swallowed. To what? Everything. She clutched my good hand. The money. Raoul. He says join therapy, fix us. Controversial 8. Infiltrate from within. One condition. Full access files. Accounts. She nodded. Desperate. Anything. Back in the brownstone Monday Eve, eerie homecoming. Dad gaunt. Scotch replaced by seltzer. Ethan absent, meeting. They handed keys. Office safe. Inside, ledgers. Photos Raoul bound. Pleading. Ethan's Polaroid trophy? Horror choked me.
This.
You knew. Dad deflated. To protect the family. From what? Yourselves? Therapy session Tuesday. Shrink's office in Tribeca. All leather and empathy. Circle. Dad.
Mom. Me.
Ethan late. Traffic. Words spilled. Dad's regrets. Mom's denial. My turn. I died once.
Betrayed. Now?
I'm back to bury you. Silence. Shrink blinked. Metaphor. Literal.
Doc.
But I played along. Weaving half-truths. Ethan burst in. Wild-eyed. What the fuck? Controversial 9. Trap sprung. I hit record on the phone, his rant. You leaked it all. For what? Some dead spick. Shrimp froze. Mom gasped. Dad buried face. Deposition Wednesday. Ethan under oath. Sweating. Victor's grill. The wires? The photos. Denials crumbled, my tapes played. Perjury charged by noon. Fallout. Arrests looming. Ethan fled texts. You win.
Bitch.
But not forever. I traced his ping, came in jet. Controversial 10. Tip Interpol.
Fugitif financier.
As cuffs clicked on Dad. Mom's wail echoed.
I stood firm.
Storm peaked. Thundermine. The blade twisted deepest in the quiet after the storm. August heat wave baking the city. Air thick with exhaust and exoneration. Harper developments gutted. Assets frozen. Headlines screaming, Dynasty of Deceit. Dad in Rikers. Orange jumpsuit mocking his pinstripes. Mom in a spa retreat. Really a psych hold for the breakdowns. Ethan? Vanished into tropics. But my Interpol tip netted a hit. Busted in a Nassau villa. Extradited screaming betrayal. Klein's victory lap. Press conference in the tower lobby. Flashes popping like gunfire. Victor at podium. Me beside, junior partner now. Arm in sling a badge of war. Justice for the voiceless, he boomed. Camera swiveled. I mouthed Raoul to the lens. Aftermath tasted bittersweet. Checks cleared for Mendoza's kids. College funds seated. Maria hugged me at the funeral we threw. Not for Raoul, but his memory. Park vigil. Candles flickering. You gave him peace, she whispered.
Peace, mine ludet.
Nights in my new loft. Williamsburg view. Rent sky-high but earned. I paced. Ghosts whispering. The van's rumble. Ethan's smirk. Had revenge filled the void? Or carved deeper? Controversial epilogue brewing. The call from Lena. Voice hushed. One more thing. Your brother's saying. You knew. All along.
Knew?
Bullshit. But doubt slithered. Flashes of childhood. Dad's lessons in cutthroat deals. Had I ignored signs? Complicit in silence? Deposition tapes reviewed. Ethan's final plea. Pre-flight.
Mads.
It was you who suggested the relocation script. Remember? For the flip. Memory lanced, yes. Age 18. Naive in turn. Scribbling memos at his behest. Make it sound humane. Seed of the grave. Twist, not just victim, but architect. The reincarnation? Not pure, tainted by my own blind ambition. October trial. Spectacle in federal court. Lower Manhattan. Dad testified first. Broken man crumbling. My children. I poisoned them. Mom absent. Medicated haze. Ethan last shackled. Snarling at me across the gallery. You set me up. From the start. Objection overruled. Jury gasped at exhibits. Ledgers. Wires. My arm's scar photo. Closing. Victor's thunder. My whisper to Ethan as verdict loomed. Blood's on us both.
Guilty.
All counts. Sentences. Dad, 20. Ethan life without. Syndicate ties sealed it. Mom probation. Therapy mandated. Outside. Rain again cleansing? I walked alone. Central Park slick. Hookah lounges puffed hookah. Joggers blurred. A bench by the reservoir. Same as our parley. Phone buzzed. Victor. Offer. Senior partner. You earned it. I deleted the voicemail. Earned or inherited the rot. Final controversial. Walk away. Resignation emailed. Pursuing passions. Passions? A non-profit. Maybe housing for the displaced. Raoul's legacy. Mom's letter arrived weeks later. Postmarked Sedona. Forgive? We failed you. I burned it. Ashes to wind. Years folded. 2025 now. Me 32. Keynote at Columbia on ethics in empire. Crowd applauds. I spot a face. Ethan's old frat bro. Now rival dev. He nods respect. Or warning. Twists echo. In the green room. A package. USB. Full story for the book. Files open my old emails. The ones suggesting creative accounting. Proof I'd known. Early. Complicit. Rage reignited?
No.
Acceptance. Reincarnation wasn't absolution, it was audit. I'd returned to pay the toll. Ending. Not triumphant parade. But quiet vigil. Hudson's Edge. Dusk gilding waves. I scatter petals, not for Raoul. But the girl I was. Drowned here once. Rest, I murmur. Wind carries them. New York hums on. Indifferent.
Me?
Reborn again, not in flesh, but forged. Family shattered, but chains broken. Revenge? A mirror. Cracking illusions. And in the reflection, Madeline Harper flawed. Fierce smiles. Not for the win, but the war within. Fade to black. Or rather,
To dawn.